Hi, and welcome to another episode for Legacy Developers. I'm Thaddeus Campbell. I'm here to talk to you a little bit today about self-storage, and specifically what I want to dive into today is the importance of population and saturation in a given market. Self-storage has been a winner for 40 years. We've talked about how it has been the highest performing asset class in the United States since the early 1980s, and especially since COVID, how the returns have just been astronomical. 61% return in less than 3 years, which obviously any investor would be happy with a 20% return in a year. But we always want to keep in mind what are the potential pratfalls of an investment that you make. And specific to self-storage, there are really two areas where a development project can go sideways. The first one is in the construction phase. If for whatever reason you do not get that facility open, obviously that's going to be a big problem. Doesn't happen very often, but if you don't budget appropriately and have the funds lined up to build the facility, something you didn't foresee happens and causes an increase in cost, that can be a problem. But traditionally, once you get the doors open of a self-storage facility, you are in the clear. It may take a little longer than you projected to get to the rental rates that you want to give your investors and yourself the return you projected, but over the long haul, that has evened itself out over time, so that even though in a short period you might be a little behind, you're gonna catch up quickly during those periods where things ramp up. The one big risk that happens after you're open is the possibility of a saturated market. Now, in self-storage, you'll hear the lingo square foot per capita. How much existing self-storage exists in a market, and typically our market area is determined by a 3-mile radius around the location that we're looking at for storage. And we're gonna then compare all of those other storage facilities within that 3 miles to see how many square feet of space they have, and we're gonna take that and check it versus what the self-storage almanac tells us is the average for that market. Now that varies a lot from state to state. Typically in the northern markets where people tend to have basements, people use storage a little less. Whereas in the southern markets, your Texas, Florida, out into Arizona and California, people use storage more. They build on slabs. They don't have basements. They need that extra space to store. We're going to compare market by market. I'm not going to use Texas's average to underwrite a project in New Jersey. That won't work. I'm going to go based on what the New Jersey average is. But when I'm looking, I want to make sure that there's plenty of room there for the amount of square footage that I'm going to put in based on the population in that 3-mile radius. And that's going to make a huge difference. If there's only 20,000 people in that 3-mile radius, it's going to be very hard for me to keep whatever demand I might be filling if somebody else comes in and opens a new store. So at Legacy, what we're always trying to identify is a market that has a significant population with a high level of current demand. And the next thing that's really important when you're looking is what is going to be the barrier to entry to get into that market of the next developer that might be looking to compete with us in that 3-mile radius. If it's really easy, if for instance there's places in Houston, Texas where there's no zoning laws, you can go build whatever you want, wherever you want it if you can find the open land. Well, then we're gonna make sure we have a much bigger cushion of demand, how much storage is needed in that market, because anybody could go in and build self-storage. If we're in another area, a lot of places in Florida or Georgia where the entitlement process is very strict and it's hard to get the right to build self-storage, then we can be a little more comfortable if there's less existing need for self-storage based on the population and the competitors in the market, because we know once we've gotten through that entitlement process, nobody's going to be able to follow up and easily go build a competitor right across the street. So I want to stress for you guys the importance. Understand the current population, the existing square footage of your competitors, and make sure you don't set yourself up in a situation where if somebody comes across the street from you and builds another 100,000 square foot Class A facility, all of a sudden you thought you were going to be getting $25 a square foot rates for your facility. We've seen many cases where that gets literally cut in half, and all of a sudden you're making $12 a square foot, and that is not making you realize the numbers that you projected when you put the project together. So again, I'm Thaddeus Campbell. We're Legacy Developers. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. I ask for you to hey, hit that like button if you're getting something of value out of this video. Subscribe to our channel. We're going to keep these coming at least once a week so we can give you our insights, what we're learning, as we're currently developing 9 different self-storage projects around the country. We want to help you understand the lessons we've learned. Share this video with any friends you have that you know are into self-storage. And one last thing, down in the comments, there's a link there to our storage syndicate. If you're really looking to get into self-storage, either as a developer or an investor, and you want to put yourself ahead of the curve and really take advantage of our understanding, click that link, learn about our storage syndicate mastermind, and we can help you get to that goal that you're looking for.